So, imagine for a second looking at a photograph of a murdered man.
Okay.
A man whose life was violently cut short years ago. You're staring at his face, and suddenly you feel this icy jolt of horror in your chest.
Oh, wow.
Because you realize he looks exactly like your own son.
Like an exact match.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
We aren't talking about a passing resemblance here. I mean, it is an identical mirror image. Now, imagine discovering that your husband, the patriarch of your family, was the very person who ordered that man's murder.
That's a lot to process.
Right. And as if that reality isn't shattering enough, your son, carrying the face of this murdered man, is about to lead a fierce rebellion against your own family's massive business empire.
It's a premise that absolutely grabs you by the throat, honestly. It really forces you to confront the idea of the past literally manifesting in the present.
It really does. And welcome to this deep dive pulled together specifically for you. We know you value getting deep, thorough knowledge without the info overload, so we're jumping straight in. If you love this kind of content, please make sure to hit that subscribe button for the Simplified Summary YouTube channel, like this video, and share your valuable comments below. We really rely on your support to keep these going.
We really do.
So today's mission is unpacking a masterpiece called Vidrohi, which translates to The Revel. It's a powerful, haunting, and incredibly layered story by the legendary Hindi author Munshi Premchand, featured in his famous Mansarovar Part 2 continuation.
Yeah, and for those who might just know Premchand for his stories about village life, this one goes somewhere much darker.
Yes, it absolutely does.
And to really appreciate what Premchand is doing here, we need to understand his usual style. Premchand is universally celebrated for his brilliant social realism.
Right.
That means he didn't write about, kings and mythological heroes. He wrote about the dirt under the fingernails of the working class.
The real people.
Exactly. He wrote about the raw, often brutal realities of poverty, debt, and class struggle in early 20th century India. But what's fascinating about Vidrohi is that he takes those grounded themes of labor rights and wraps them in this intense, suffocating psychological thriller.
Yeah, he introduces this heavy concept of karmic justice.
He does. It's not just a straightforward story about a labor strike at a mill.
Far from it.
It's about the cosmic scales balancing themselves out across generations. It asks you, the listener, a fundamental question.
Which is?
Can a family truly escape the blood spilled to build its fortune? Or does the universe have a way of, collecting its debts?
And the way he answers that question is just chillin'. Let's jump right into the opening mystery.
Let's do it.
So we're introduced to Krishnachandra. He's a young man of immense privilege, the heir to a wealthy industrial family. One day, he decides to visit a local textile mill owned by his family. The moment he steps foot on the grounds, something incredible happens. He's instantly surrounded by the mill workers. But they aren't looking at him the way employees usually look at the boss's son.
No, they're staring at him with absolute reverence.
Right. They are entirely convinced that he is the reincarnation of a man named Gopinath.
And we really have to pause and understand who Gopinath was to these workers.
He wasn't just a random guy.
Exactly. He was their champion. He was a fierce labor leader who fought tooth and nail for their rights. And for his trouble, he was tragically shot and killed right there.
Right on that very spot.
Yeah, at that very spot in the mill years ago. So for the workers, seeing Krishnachandra isn't just a surprise. It's like seeing a martyr rise from the ashes. They see their savior returning to them.
And the sensory details Premchand uses here to describe what happens next are incredible. Krishnachandra, who is completely bewildered but riding this wave of strange reverence, is taken by the workers to visit Gopinath's sick widow.
The contrast there is jarring.
It really is. You have this wealthy heir, used to absolute luxury, stepping into a room that is described so viscerally. There's a foul smell. The heat is absolutely oppressive. The walls are cracked.
It's the absolute epitome of crushing poverty.
Yes, but instead of being repulsed, Krishnachandra feels this inexplicable, profound joy. He actually finds deep satisfaction in serving her. He feels deep in his bones as though a wanderer has finally come home.
That specific phrase, a wanderer finally coming home, is the emotional anchor of this entire sequence.
It gives you goosebumps.
It does. From a psychological standpoint, it's a brilliant depiction of the uncanny. Krishnachandra doesn't consciously know why he feels this way. His privileged upbringing should make this environment intolerable to him.
He should want to leave immediately.
Right, but his subconscious is resonating with a past he doesn't even remember.
It's like his body remembers a life his mind doesn't.
That's a great way to put it. He is feeling the residual echoes of Gopinath's life. It's the concept of an avatar, which in Indian philosophy isn't just, a blue alien from a movie.
Right, right.
It's the idea of a spirit descending and manifesting in a new physical form to restore cosmic balance.
Well, the cosmic balance is about to come knocking, because Pramila, Krishnachandra's mother, arrives at this wretched room to find her son.
And this is where it gets crazy.
She walks in, and her eyes land on a portrait hanging on the cracked wall. It's a portrait of the dead Gopinath. She stares at it, and a creeping, absolute terror washes over her.
Because of the resemblance.
Yes. She realizes that the dead man in the picture is an exact mirror image of her son, Krishnachandra. The only difference is that Gopinath had a mustache.
Premchand builds the tension so perfectly here. Pramila doesn't just start asking polite questions. Her maternal instinct.
That primal urge to protect.
Exactly. That primal urge to protect her child from a looming threat takes over completely. She grabs his hand and forcefully pulls him away from the widow's house.
She just yanks him out of there.
Yeah. She's terrified by a realization that is too monstrous to fully articulate yet, but she knows on a gut level that her son is intertwined with a dark history.
I mean, imagine the sheer panic. Put yourself in her shoes for a second. You're enjoying the wealth and status built by your family, and suddenly the bill for that wealth arrives, and it literally bears your son's face.
Pramila's reaction is the physical embodiment of a guilty conscience. Even if the guilt isn't entirely her own, she is the beneficiary of the empire.
She knows what it took to build it.
She knows enough about how that empire was built to be terrified when the ghosts start showing up.
And speaking of how that empire was built, this brings us to the return of Seth Kubchand, Krishnachandra's father, and Pramila's husband. He arrives at the train station after a 15-year exile.
Right.
We don't get every single detail of his time away, but the physical toll is obvious. He's described as a withered, broken old man. This is a sharp, painful contrast to the memories his wife Pramila has of him.
He used to be this powerful, commanding patriarch.
And now he's just a shadow.
His physical decay is a direct reflection of his moral decay. When a character in literature returns from exile withered and aged like this, it often signifies that they've been consumed by their own actions from the inside out.
So the exile didn't help him.
The exile hasn't purified him or taught him a lesson, no. It has merely eroded him. He's been carrying a massive weight for a decade and a half.
So Pramila, who is practically vibrating with anxiety at this point, brings her terrifying discovery to him. She reveals the shocking, dark truth of the story. Seth Kubchand was the one responsible for Gopinath's murder.
He ordered the hit on the labor leader to break the original strike.
Exactly. Frantic, Pramila tells her husband that their son, Krishnachandra, acts, speaks, and thinks exactly like the man he'd killed. She expects him to share her horror. She expects him to panic.
But he doesn't.
No. Seth Kubchand's reaction is deeply unsettling. He just smiles. And Permission describes it as a deep smile.
It's an incredibly disturbing moment. This raises a fascinating point about the human capacity for rationalization. Instead of recoiling in fear or collapsing in guilt, Kubchand twists theology to serve his own ego.
But wait, is he actually convincing himself, or is this just a desperate coping mechanism from a broken man? Because finding out your victim has taken over your son's body, I mean, how does someone genuinely process that with a smile?
It's likely a mix of both, but the arrogance of it is what's truly staggering. Think of it this way. If you commit a terrible crime, the cognitive dissonance, the guilt, it can destroy you.
Right.
To survive it, Kubchand has built a narrative. He genuinely tries to convince himself that the man he murdered taking an avatar as his own son is actually a sign of divine favor.
Wow.
It's a stunning display of psychological gymnastics. He views the universe's karmic irony as God doing things for our own good.
So he's basically telling himself, I killed him, but God brought him back as my heir, so the universe has forgiven me. Everything is fine.
Precisely. It is the ultimate arrogance of power. He strips the situation of its danger by framing it as a divine blessing.
That is wild.
He fails to see that karma doesn't usually work as a reward system for murderers. If we think of karmic justice as a cosmic rebalancing act, you put a heavy weight of suffering on one side of the scale, the universe drops an equal weight on your side.
And he's completely missing that.
He is completely misinterpreting the scale. He is so insulated by his wealth and his warped philosophy that he cannot see the storm gathering right inside his own house.
And oh, what a storm it is, because back at the mill, things are reaching a boiling point. The workers are suffering. The mill has a new manager, and this guy is utterly ruthless.
Very draconian.
We are talking about brutal, draconian rules. If a worker is 5 minutes late, they dock half a day's pay. If they're 10 minutes late, a full day's pay is gone. It's designed to crush them.
This is where Premchand's background in social realism really shines through. He doesn't just tell us the management is bad in some abstract way. He gives us the specific, grueling math of their oppression. It's so visceral.
Taking a full day's wage for a 10-minute delay isn't management. It's theft disguised as policy. In the historical context of early 20th century mills, workers lived on the absolute brink of starvation.
So losing a day's pay.
Losing a day's pay meant your family didn't eat.
Yeah.
It leaves the workers with absolutely no margin for error, no room to be human.
Exactly. And the workers are at the end of their rope. But they don't go to the manager, and they don't go to Seth Kubchand. They go to Krishnachandra.
Because they trust him.
They trust him deeply because
Yeah.
they literally see Gopinath in him. They
Yeah.
feel that old protective spirit. So they give him an ultimatum. Either he, the owner's son, goes and negotiates with this cruel manager on their behalf, or they are going on a massive strike.
Wow.
The scene leaves Krishnachandra standing there in deep, silent contemplation.
What's brilliant here is the tragic irony Premchand constructs. Think about the title of the story, Vidrohi, the rebel. Usually a rebel is a radical outsider trying to break down the gates of the castle.
Right, like someone from the streets. But the rebel in this narrative is the literal heir to the capitalist establishment. He is the prince of the very empire he's being asked to fight.
It really shifts the perspective on how change happens.
It shows how true systemic rebellion often has to sprout from within the very systems of power it seeks to dismantle.
That makes sense.
The workers can strike, yes, but for the structure to truly change, the heart of the establishment, represented by Krishnachandra, must turn against itself. Krishnachandra's silent contemplation is the moment he's choosing between his inherited wealth and his reincarnated conscience.
He's totally torn.
He is caught between the father who gave him life and the spirit of the man his father murdered, which now lives within him.
And he makes his choice. He cannot ignore the spirit of Gopinath inside him. He sides with the workers.
A huge turning point.
He confronts the ruthless manager, demanding better conditions, demanding fairness. But the management, completely entrenched in their greed and power, refuses to budge an inch. They probably look at Krishnachandra like he's lost his mind.
The owner's son arguing for the peasants.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly. So the inevitable happens. The strike begins.
And this isn't a peaceful modern-day picket line. A strike in this era, in this context, is an act of sheer desperation. It is a powder keg.
It really is. The tension escalates rapidly. The workers shut down the mill. Management retaliates. They bring in the police or perhaps hired enforcers to break the strike, just like they did 15 years ago.
History repeating itself.
The air is thick with anger and desperation. A clash breaks out. It turns violent. And in the absolute chaos of the riot, amidst the shouting and the swinging batons, Krishnachandra, who is leading the charge for the workers, is struck down.
The symmetry is devastating. He dies in the exact same way, in the exact same place, fighting the exact same fight as Gopinath did all those years ago.
It's heartbreaking.
The karmic loop closes with absolute terrifying precision.
It's a total gut punch. Premchand doesn't give us a triumphant victory lap where the workers win and everyone learns a valuable lesson.
Yeah.
Instead, the narrative pulls us straight into a scene of unimaginable, suffocating grief.
The aftermath.
We cut away from the dust and blood of the mill floor to the quiet, devastating aftermath. We see Pramila, the mother, desperately clutching the dead body of Krishnachandra.
The pacing here is so deliberate. All the tension of the strike, the mystical reincarnation, the karmic debts, it all violently crashes down into the lap of a grieving mother.
She takes the brunt of it all.
The universe has finally collected its debt, and she is the one left holding the receipt.
The sun, who was her entire world, who Premchand describes as her sun and moon, is just gone. And over this tragic scene, over the bloody body of the rebel heir, a massive philosophical clash erupts between the parents.
This is a powerful moment.
Kubchand, the father who ordered the original murder, is standing there looking at his dead son, and he tries to comfort his devastated wife. But his comfort is chilling. He tells her that they should thank God even in death, repeating his twisted mantra that God always works for their welfare.
It's deeply disturbing, but it shows how thoroughly trapped Kubchand is in his own delusion. If he admits that this death is a tragedy, he has to admit that it is a punishment.
And he can't face that.
He has to finally confront his own monstrous guilt. So he doubles down on this toxic positivity. He tries to force this idea that even the violent death of their only son is somehow a divine favor.
But Pramila is having none of it. She doesn't just politely disagree. She fiercely, passionately rejects his empty philosophy. You can picture her clothes stained with her son's blood, her voice hoarse from screaming.
She strips away all of his philosophical armor?
Yes. She looks at her husband and demands to know how the complete loss of her life's foundation, the destruction of her entire world, could possibly be for the best. She exposes the raw, bleeding reality of their consequence.
The way she reacts is so vital to the story. She cannot intellectualize her grief away, and she refuses to let her husband do it either. This clash is the emotional core of the story's ending. It's a confrontation between abstract, self-serving theology and the harsh, undeniable reality of human loss.
And it's in that precise moment, staring at his broken wife and the body of the boy who carried his victim's soul, that Seth Kubchand finally breaks. The mental gymnastics finally fail him.
He finally gets it.
He looks at the ruin of his family, and the ultimate horrifying realization hits him.
He realizes the true nature of his 15-year exile. He thought he got away with it. He thought he had outsmarted the law and appeased the heavens.
But he didn't.
No. He realizes that during those long, miserable years, it wasn't his own legacy or his wealth that protected his family. It was the spirit of Gopinath.
The very man he had cold-bloodedly killed.
Exactly. That spirit, living on inside Krishnachandra, was the only thing that had sustained and protected his wife's soul all those years.
The victim had become the protector of the murderer's family, just so the universe could take him away again to make the pain equal.
The universe didn't just punish Kubchand by taking his son. It forced Kubchand and Pramila to fiercely, deeply love the reincarnation of the man they destroyed. It fattened the calf, so to speak.
Oh, that's incredibly dark.
It intertwined their hearts with Gopinath's spirit, ensuring that when the time came to balance the scales, the loss would be absolute and inescapable.
It's a loop of justice, so tight, so profound, it's actually suffocating. Kubchand is completely overwhelmed by this divine, tragic irony. He sees the universe's design, and it is a terrible, terrifying mercy.
And then he just collapses mentally.
Yes, in that moment of total mental collapse and revelation, he throws his hands up and shouts, "Krishna Bhagwan Ki Jai! Victory to Lord Krishna!"
That final shout is incredibly complex. It's not a shout of religious ecstasy or joy.
Not at all.
It is a cry of absolute crushing surrender. He is yielding to a cosmic power that is far beyond his control, a power that balances the scales of justice with a ruthless, poetic precision.
He thought he was untouchable.
He spent his life thinking he was the master of his fate, the untouchable ruler of his industrial empire. But in the end, he realizes he was just a pawn in a much larger karmic game.
Premchand's Vidrohi goes so far beyond a simple tale of a labor strike. It is a haunting, unforgettable reminder that the debts we incur through cruelty and arrogance are rarely paid in cash.
They are paid back in blood.
And usually by the ones we love the most.
It's a story that lingers with you long after you finished it. It forces us to look at the unseen threads connecting our actions to our eventual fates. And it leaves us with a profound, almost frightening question to ponder.
What is that question?
If human law fails to deliver justice, if the powerful evade the consequences of their actions in the courts of men, do you believe the universe possesses its own mechanism to balance the scales?
That is a heavy thought.
Does it achieve this ultimate justice by weaving our victims into the very fabric of our own families, forcing us to love what we have destroyed?
That is a thought that will definitely keep you up at night. Thank you for taking this deep dive with us today. We hope this exploration of Premchand's masterpiece gave you some profound insights to carry with you.
We really hope so.
Don't forget, if you had an aha moment today, please make sure to subscribe to the Simplified Summary channel, drop a like, and share your thoughts in the comments. Let us know what you think of Kubchand's karmic punishment. Take care, and we'll catch you on the next deep dive.